There was a need for young people leaving school to find work, young people with disabilities. Myself and a bunch of parents actually got together and applied for some funding, and we were very successful in that funding, and that's how STEPS started. The opportunity for young people to find work and be supported in that work was really what was essential. Well, I wasn't the only person who started STEPS. There was a number of people involved. I'm just probably the only one left still involved. People who started the organisation had children with disabilities who just left school, and there really wasn't a place or an organisation on the Sunshine Coast that actually helped young people with disabilities. And we were very clear that we wanted our children to have as normal a life as they could get, and that meant having employment. I have a personal philosophy that says that unless you have a job, doesn't matter whether that's an 8-hour job or a 38-hour job, then you don't have real independence, and that's what's really important, to this organisation, is to actually make sure that people have the opportunity to have a job and be independent and be part of society just like everybody else is. And the reason we started was that we wanted to make a difference in the lives of young people originally. Now we're committed to making a difference in the lives of all people with a disability and those with disadvantages. The Pathways College was started because I have a son with a disability, and he's actually in his late 40s now, and I discovered that it was very difficult for him to learn to be independent within his home environment. I knew it was important to be able to get young people soon after they'd left school, before they became almost institutionalised in their own homes, because that's what's happened in my household. And it was important to be able to have them learn external to their homes. The thought started when we considered how we would actually do that. And the best possible way to do that was to create a living environment that was as close to living externally to a home as you could possibly get. I had been thinking about this for a very long time. It was a problem that needed solving, and it regurgitated in my mind for a very long time about what we could do to assist young people to learn to live independently. It was never going to be an inexpensive program to run, and it was always going to require a lot of funds to get it up and running, and it certainly has. And the program itself is, we know works. We've actually got the proof now that it works. The concept that we put in place, the very brave families who came and put their young people into our hands very early on, 3 or 4 years ago, now actually has reaped incredible results, and a lot of those young people are now out living independently. So we know that what we started and the plan that we made as an organisation actually works, and we can actually now state very clearly that we've made an incredible difference in the lives of many young people who are now living independently. But I think the most important thing as well is that we've made an incredible difference in the lives of their parents and their families. For me, one of the major reasons why I wanted to start this was to have families be able to have the life that they all deserve, not just for a person with a disability to have the life they choose and the life they should have, but for families to have those as well, and giving parents the freedom to have a life that we all deserve when our children grow up and move away and get their own lives and have their own families, has been probably the biggest joy for me to see. Not something that's happened in my lifetime, but it's certainly going to be something that's happened in all the lives and families of the young people that have come through our college. We have our very first student, Tom, who came in, right at the beginning of our program, who now lives independently in Melbourne. He talked for years about wanting to go to Melbourne and live where his cousins were, and his mum and dad are still up here. And he desperately wanted to move down there, and it was just, that's all he talked about from day one. And Tom spent 2 years with us, and he very successfully has moved himself down to Melbourne, where some of his family are. And his mum and dad can't believe that, that Tom has the independence that he's always dreamed of having. And they can't believe they have as well. You know, they've been able to move on with their lives and do the things that people do when their kids all grow up and move on with theirs. So it's just a joy to be able to see, you know, that particular family. But they're not the only ones. And, you know, recently we've just had 3 students move out into a unit of their own, and you know they just think their world is just amazing. They can't believe that why they came in here to gain their independence has actually now happened. It's just amazing to see, and they love it, and we love to see it. Some of the stories that have affected families' lives, I think, are, and I think the thing that made me really happy was that for the first cohort of students that came in, almost every parent of a student here, without fail, was overseas within 6 months of their student coming into the college. And without exception, every single one of those parents said it was the first time they had been able to go overseas or have a holiday by themselves in the entire life of their child. And they couldn't believe it. They could actually go overseas without even thinking or worrying about their son or daughter because they knew they were safe and well looked after and they were happy. And I think that's probably the most important message here is that students, although nervous coming into the college when they start, they settle in very quickly, and their parents actually settle in very quickly because they know their children are safe, well looked after, and are learning what they need to learn to live independently. I would hope that anybody that was connecting with STEPS would know that why we're here. It's always about the why, never about the what, for us as an organisation. And we hope that that message comes through in the way we do business, and the fact that, you know, that all of our staff actually are here because they really care about what they do and why they do it. So what I would like people to know about what we do is that, that we're committed, and we're committed to making the lives of people with a disability better in any possible way we can.